Hi, I'm Jeanette Roche. This is Forum Daily West. Here are some of the top stories we've been following. A massive rally in Edmonton for Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre sees record numbers of attendees and an endorsement from former PM Stephen Harper. Plus, the Justice Center of Constitutional Freedoms appeals the prorogation challenge dismissal in federal court. And a popular Alberta figure and landmark could be no more in a few years. What the tourist town of Drumheller is doing to save Tyra, the Tyrannosaurus. Thanks so much for joining us. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre's campaign rolled into Edmonton last night. A crowd estimated to be around 12,000 turned out to hear Poilievre's energy-friendly message in a part of the province commonly called oil country. The crowd gathered at a vacant warehouse in Nisku, south of Edmonton. They came with their flags on hockey sticks and T-shirts and hats. At times, it had the feeling of a rock concert more than a political rally. Former Prime Minister Stephen Harper introduced and endorsed Poilievre, who then worked a very friendly crowd.
Then there's the production cap. Liberals want to cap energy production in Canada, while the Americans, the Venezuelans, the Saudi Arabians, the Russians increasingly dominate the global energy market. They want to push our jobs and production out of Canada. Now, there was some hope that Mark Carney might flip-flop on that, having supported bans on pipelines his entire career over the last 10 years. But he confirmed just last week that if he is re-elected as Prime Minister, he will keep the anti-development law C-69, he will keep the production cap, and in his words, he will keep 80% of Canada's oil in the ground. We're going to do precisely the opposite. A common sense, Canada First government will repeal the production cap, remove C-69, and commit to the aim of approving major projects in under 6 months. Bring it home.
Poilievre also told the crowd he would get tough on crime, reduce taxes, and get tougher on fentanyl dealers, saying they should be subject to life sentences just like murderers. He also said that for every new dollar of government spending, it would be mandated to find $1 in savings. Following his speech, we spoke with some newer Canadians who were in attendance. They're concerned with the changes they've seen in the country over the past decade.
I love the country. It was a nice place. I moved here from the UK. Originally from Nigeria to the UK and then back over here to Canada. I loved it here when I came. I loved it. I wanted to bring my family up here. And all of a sudden, the Liberal government got into power and everything changed. The rate of crime increased. The taxes increased. The job losses, unemployment, everything that you can ever think of that could go wrong went wrong with the Liberal government. But now we want to change, and I believe that Pierre is the right person to implement that change.
Been here for about 9 years now with my family, and what took us here was the Canadian dream, and we've started seeing it slip away from us. We want that dream back, and I believe, and we believe that the Conservative Party, with the programs, with our leader coming in, putting all that together, definitely will give us that, the dream, what actually brought us from wherever we came from.
For me, I've been here for more than 17 years in Canada, and I'm originally from Nigeria. I studied in Germany, then moved down here in Canada, and I want that for my family, for my kids.
On Tuesday, Poilievre's campaign rolled on into Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Well, Liberal leader Mark Carney was in Delta, BC today discussing his party's previously announced housing plan, highlighting a pledge to build more homes using Canadian resources like softwood lumber. Carney was asked about his need to be in Western Canada when historically the Liberals haven't needed Western Canadian voters to win.
I happen to be from the West. I have deep ties to Alberta, where I grew up, ties to the territories where I was born, and ties to BC, where my family, my mother and my sister now live. I know the West, and I think I have a good sense, buttressed by our candidates here in British Columbia.
Lethbridge Polytechnic is facing layoffs and program closures due to a budget shortfall of about $8 million. The programs affected include the Commercial Greenhouse Technician Certificate, the Educational Assistant Diploma, the Healthcare Aid and Agricultural Science Diploma. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh was also in BC today. He says he wants to ban foreign buyers from purchasing homes in Canada. Speaking at an election campaign stop in Vancouver today, Singh says a government led by him would close loopholes by barring numbered companies and corporate proxies from buying homes.
We're going to make it permanent, the ban on big money investors buying up Canadian homes. That should be a ban. Homes in Canada should be for you and your family, not for rich investors to get richer. In addition, we're going to end the loophole that allows speculators to flip homes year after year. That's got to stop. It just drives up the cost of homes and it makes it more expensive and impossible for everyday folks to buy a home. The thing is, we're in it for you. So we're going to put forward ideas that make it easier for you and your family to buy a home. We're not interested in billionaires making lots of money off of housing. We're not interested in investors and speculators driving up the cost of homes. We want to put a stop to that so that you and your family can actually afford a home.
It looks like the prorogation of Parliament challenge is not over yet, as a federal court's dismissal of it is now being appealed. If you'll recall, former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced his decision to prorogue Parliament on January 6th, sparking a national conversation about the scope of a Prime Minister's power to shut down Parliament. The Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms challenged it in court. It was dismissed, and the JCCF filed their appeal on April 5th with the Federal Court of Appeal. In their appeal, the applicants invite the Federal Court of Appeal to consider two main questions raised in their January 7th application. What is the scope of a Prime Minister's power to advise prorogation? And did the Prime Minister's January 6th decision fall within that scope or not? Andre Mamari is an attorney with the JCCF. We asked how confident he is that the Court of Appeal will hear their argument and agree with it.
Before we get to the actual merits, there is an issue of mootness. Naturally, people ask the question, well, Parliament is no longer prorogued, and so can the court even hear this case? It's moot. And the answer to that is the court does have discretion to hear a case that is moot. And this case is very important. It's important that the law is very clear about a Prime Minister's power to prorogue Parliament, because of course we're going to be here. We're going to be at this question again at some point in the future with the next Prime Minister, whoever that may be. And so, for clarity, not just for Canadians, but also for the Prime Minister, for the Privy Council, to have clarity surrounding this prerogative power is necessary. In terms of confidence about what the outcome is, I really can't say.
Mamari says this is an important constitutional case for Canadians, as it could set a precedent for future prime ministers. Well, if you've ever visited Drumheller, you might be familiar with Tyra, the Tyrannosaurus. She's a popular tourist attraction that towers over the Drumheller skyline in the Canadian Badlands. Well, there's a plan to send her into a proverbial tar pit, and it sparked demands that she be spared. The chamber plans to dismantle Tyra in 2029, but local residents in the town want to find a way to keep her where she is.
To me, it's like if you had the Eiffel Tower or Big Ben and somebody on social posted this and made me think about it, and you said, it was cool, we had fun with the Eiffel Tower, but we're tearing it down. People would lose it worldwide. Like you don't take away monuments, and this may not be designated as a World Heritage Site or a monument or anything special to the world, but it's special to the world, and so I want to make sure that it stays where it is.
We are the dinosaur capital of the world, and world's largest dinosaur has been very iconic in our community. So yeah, we're going to look for some solutions and how do we resolve this. Where there's a will, there's a way, and the community is very passionate about their dinosaurs, and as you can see by all the conversations going on, that the community loves the dinosaurs, and so do many people that come and visit. So yeah, I always try and find solutions.
candidates. We adopted a new strategic plan last year, and part of that was to look at the dinosaur and the future of the dinosaur. So the board knew there was, a limited lifespan of the dinosaur, and these decisions had to be made in the future. So also at the time, we were renegotiating our lease with the town, and they offered us a 5-year lease, which aligned with our decision that we had made. So as of the end of 2029, the lease will end, and we will vacate and dismantle the dinosaur as per the clause in our lease.
Well, we've got 5 years, right? So what can we do in 5 years? And is it we keep it? Is it we do something else, right? Like, let's just really think about what we want to do. And I hope we keep it. She's an amazing asset to the town, but let's just see what we can do.
Well, I think I need to get myself to Drumheller and see Tyra for myself. It's been decades. There are now 6 federal candidates running in the Lethbridge riding, including notable names such as incumbent Conservative MP Rachel Thomas and former mayor and Liberal candidate Chris Spearman. As BCN has brought you conversations with most of the candidates, we had a chance to chat with Mark Slingerland, the Lethbridge candidate under the Christian Heritage Party. Mark and his party runs under the belief of, quote, the supremacy of God and the rule of law. BCN's Landon Hickok had a chance to sit down with Mark this week to ask him what his campaign prioritizes.
So what was sort of your motivation in running for federal politics under the name of the Christian Heritage? And what's kind of your background that you want to take into Ottawa?
I think it's very important that voters in Lethbridge have a opportunity to vote for a candidate and a party that is pro-life without exception, especially in the context of the last decade or so in Canada, as euthanasia has gone from an idea to a reality to a situation where Canada is kind of a cautionary tale internationally now for how quickly it has expanded and how the safeguards that are supposed to be there seem not to actually be functioning. Something like 1 in every 20 deaths in Canada now is from euthanasia, medical assistance in dying. And there's hundreds of documented cases of the safeguards that are supposed to be there, getting consultation and waiting periods and so on, that those are not being observed. And just that fundamental respect for human life and the value of every human life from conception to natural death.
What are your sort of angles in approaching the top issues that I would say most Canadians are faced with right now?
For sure. Debt, I mentioned already, that's actually a big one that comes into affordability. Among the issues, some things that lead to inflation and affordability issues are beyond the control of federal government, right? There's lots of factors that are just realities that we have to deal with. And yet, when we are now paying $125 million every day just to service the interest on the federal debt, that is a huge amount of money that is being stolen from future generations and is hurting Canadians right now. That's money that it's equivalent to one of the largest departments in our federal government, money that could much better go to the priorities of Canadians. So living within our means is certainly something that would help with affordability for every Canadian.
The full interview of Mark Slingerland can be found on our Bridge City News YouTube page and website at bridgecitynews.ca. And just a reminder, an all-candidates forum is taking place tonight at the Yates Memorial Theatre. The Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce is sponsoring the event. Joining Slingerland will be Rachel Thomas of the Conservatives, Liberal Chris Spearman, Nathan Svoboda of the NDP, Green Party candidate Amber Murray, and Clara Petalou with the People's Party of Canada. Doors open at 5 with the forum expected to run from 6 till 7:30. Now, some tragic news. The roof of an iconic Jet Set nightclub in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, collapsed nearly an hour after a merengue concert, killing at least 58 people and injuring at least 160. Among the dead are former Toronto Blue Jays reliever and 15-year Major League veteran Octavio Dotel. We'll have more details as they become available. Here locally, Lethbridge police have charged a man following a high-risk takedown at a South Side residence over the weekend. Sunday night around 6:30 p.m., police responded to a residence along the 900 block of 14th Street South. Police had been told a man was threatening someone with a gun. When the suspect came out of the house and refused to obey police's commands, he was tasered and taken into custody. After obtaining a search warrant, police discovered an improperly stored shotgun along with some ammunition. They say the shotgun had been discharged inside the home. 69-year-old Paul Joseph Lewis of Lethbridge is charged with uttering threats, resisting a peace officer, careless use of a firearm, and unsafe storage of a firearm. Monday kicked off Tourism Week, and with the busy summer tourism season around the corner, the mayor of Jasper, Alberta, is encouraging people to include the town in their travel plans. Mayor Richard Ireland says the fire-ravaged mountain town will need all the visitors it can get, though the town is projecting a 20% drop in revenue this summer because of lost hotel rooms and campsite spaces.
So our message to visitors, we are open, we're accepting and welcoming visitors. We hope that they will come and visit us. And we encourage them to make those plans, make them early, and make sure they're booked in advance.